Morning, guys. Good morning, guys. Are you excited for the show today? I am so excited because it's a Monday. Good morning, everyone. It's a Monday, and I have a very, very special guest for everyone. And so you better stick around because we will be learning a lot today. It's a rainy Monday here in Metro Manila, but I am so happy to be with you because we bring today something that I believe will benefit all of us. We have an expert guest who will tell us all about mental health. So do invite your friends, your family members whom you think can benefit from the discussion today. This is Mark Your Day. Good morning to Jane. Good morning to Ate Colleen. Good morning to Lynette. Good morning to Nanay Melin. Everyone watching from all over the country, welcome everyone to this show this morning. Today is special sa buong mundo because the world celebrates several historical events today. One of them, dividing Korea into North and South Korea, happened this very day in the 1940s. Today, they divided the entire Korean peninsula along the 38th parallel to form the North Korea and the South Korea. Also today, Indonesia declared its independence from the Dutch. Do you know that if there is one company that is of the greatest value in terms of capital and market share in all of history, according to I think in modern history, because they were talking about how Apple is approaching the 2 trillion mark. This company, more than 10 times bigger than Apple. You know what this company is? The Dutch East Indies Company. It's one of the biggest apparently in all of history. And that same company helped control Indonesia. So today, congratulations to our friends from Indonesia on their Independence Day. Also today is the day we talk about our mental health issues. If you have your friends who are struggling to cope with the challenges of COVID-19, if you have friends who are having difficulty facing the consequences of the slowdown of the economy, do invite them to the show today because we're talking to an expert. Yes, a real expert on mental health, because this guy can actually lead us through a discussion of all our options, from counseling all the way to medication. So you get the full scale of help if you focus on the show today. So I would like to invite you to share this live to your Facebook friends by starting a watch party, because it's not every day that we get the opportunity to talk to an expert. Before I proceed to that segment though, let's talk about the news first. Let's read the headlines and I'll give you my thoughts on the headlines. Okay, let's go check out the news. What's in the news today? Good morning, Tito Gilbert Lazaro. Good morning, Ate Colin. Invite your friends. We're talking about mental health today. What's in the news? Let's get an update first from DOH. This is the update from DOH. 3,420. That's a good number. 90 plus 99. Is that 99? Let's check if that's 99. Is that 99? Yes, 99 out of 105 labs. If you can see, the bulk of the cases is still in NCR with 2,900 something or 1,900 plus. Laguna, Cavite, Batangas, and Rizal. The rest of the Philippines, please take care. Make sure you keep your numbers low in your areas. What's worrying me though is the number of critical and severe cases. It has significantly grown. I think if this problem is spreading throughout the country and in smaller towns and cities, it might be harder for us to manage these cases because of the capabilities there. If you need equipment and it's not available, it might be hard to manage those cases. So better be safe than risk it, my friends. Really make sure you don't catch this virus in your area, especially if you live in an area where the healthcare system isn't so prepared to handle a pandemic such as this. Okay, so what's our news from one of our big dailies? Philippine Daily Inquirer. Other PhilHealth execs urged to go on leave. The regional vice presidents of PhilHealth have already submitted their letter or their intention to go on leave, and that's been appreciated. And so other executives, especially in the executive committee, the top level of PhilHealth, they're also urged to go on leave so that the investigation can go unhampered. As you can see, PhilHealth is facing so many issues of corruption. 6 PhilHealth executives on leave amid probe. Okay, that's the same headline from the Philippine Star. Okay, pharma groups ask government to reconsider drug price caps, and then repatriated Pinoys hit 1.3 million 135,290 because the world is in recession. The United Kingdom, the Great Britain is in recession. Many countries are in recession, so I could imagine how difficult it is as well for our OFWs in those areas, especially if the cost of living in those areas is very high. That's why it's safer for them to keep their cash, come home to the Philippines where the cost of living is lower, thereby allowing them to weather this pandemic, survive this pandemic, and when things normalize in the coming months, they can go back to their employment and resume their regular lives. So let's take care of them. If you see an OFW in your area, please, huwag nyo naman silang ipag-blow out. Huwag na po natin silang hingan ng pasalubong. Let's allow them to save and keep whatever cash they are bringing into the Philippines so that they could sustain their families and survive this pandemic, just like what all of us are trying to do. Next, 6 PhilHealth officials go on leave. It's the same news article. It's the same headline because that's really what's in our DOLE. Makes mandatory RT-PCR tests for labor sector. It's better to test. Make sure that those who report to work are COVID-free. because if we have COVID spreading in our business facilities, it will be difficult for the economy to recover. If you have to lock down for several weeks because one of your staff got infected, it will affect business stability. We are unstable as it is already. That's why it's best to be careful in our business during this MECQ in Metro Manila. We decided to let our workers rest so we will not expose them, especially that here in Marikina there are certain areas that they're watching. So we're hoping that everyone will be safe from this COVID-19. Those are your headlines. It's similar, and if Duterte is to be obeyed, he will really put to jail people. Oh, later, according to my favorite co-host, announcement on the new arrangements for Metro Manila and other provinces will be announced today, maybe later tonight, as they usually do. So yan po yun. Good morning, Tita Jeje of Curated Quezon. Good morning, Lila Tagaro. Good morning to our dear friends who are with us today. Tita Jeje, if you have friends who may have depression or mental health concerns, please invite them to the show today because we're talking to an expert. Good morning, Lila. Good morning, Mr. Caballero. Good morning to our friends. I'm excited. Hindi ko na ito papatagalin. Okay? So friends, if you're watching from my private page, I cannot see your comments from my screen here. What I see are the comments coming from my public page. So if you want to join the discussion, and I would invite you to join the discussion, I would like to invite you to move over to the Mark Castrodes public page because that's where I could read your comments. I have prepared a few questions for a special guest today, but I would encourage you to write down your questions as well so that we could enrich the discussion. This guy is a real expert on mental health. He treats people not just with mental health concerns but with mental health illnesses. Talagang kung meron ng sakit sa ating pag-iisip, this guy can treat them. So this guy is not just a counselor, this guy is a medical doctor. So I would like to invite you guys, do come over to the public page of Mark Castrodes because that's where the discussion is happening, and invite your friends to join the discussion. If you have shared this to your Facebook page and you've started a watch party, please monitor that as well if you're in your phone, if you have another phone, so that if your friends have questions, they could you could read their questions and type it down here in the comments below. And that's what I want you all to do, because I don't want to do all the asking of questions today. I want you to join the discussion. So head over to the Mark Castrodes page as we start our What's Interesting segment. Kikim and Jim Webb, good morning from the US. If you have mental health questions, you have to focus on the show today because we have a special guest. I'll give you a few minutes again to invite your friends over to the public page and to share this to your watch parties. Okay, why did I decide to have this discussion? Because I know that there have been a lot of concerns because we have been on lockdown for many months now, and we have also experienced a lot of difficulty because of the slowdown of the economy. I know that many have lost their jobs with a 17 approaching 18% unemployment rate. Many people are struggling. And not just employees, you also have businesses struggling to survive because of this pandemic and have decided to close. And so if you have businesses closing down, you have business owners worrying how they can pay their loans, they can sustain their lifestyle, how they can sustain their families. And you also have employees who are struggling to get by every day. And that's why I invite you to join the discussion today. And that's why I have chosen this particular guest, because this particular guest is an expert. Who did we invite today, my friends? Okay, let me introduce him first before we ring him up, okay? Let me introduce him first before we ring him up. And then help me monitor if there's an echo, because the last time we did this, there was an echo. And supposedly, I have fixed that echo already, and there should not be any sound coming out of this already, meaning I have fixed this problem in our system, that there will be no echo anymore. So watch that. Oh, saying hi to also Paul. Good morning, Paul. Okay, so invite your friends over. Who did we invite as a guest today? We have invited a dear friend whom I have... Okay, let's ring him first so that he can already hear us out. Okay, let's ring him first. And then when we ring him, that's when we introduce him, so that he will be inspired by his introduction, right? So that he will feel welcome in this discussion that we have here, MWF, Mark Your Day. Okay, let's ring him up before I introduce him to you. Okay, let's ring him up. Let's bring him up to here. Okay, there, it's already ringing. Are you hearing that? Are you hearing that? Okay. Alrighty. Okay, it's ringing.
Good morning.
Good morning, doctor. Okay, let me introduce our very special guest today. Who did we invite today? Dr. Benson Go is a psychiatrist. Dr. Go is also a fellow of the Philippine Psychiatric Association and an international fellow of the American Psychiatric Association, the chief of hospital of the DOH Drug Abuse Treatment and Rehabilitation Center in Cagayan de Oro, and someone I look up to because when I was still in high school, I was watching him play table tennis. A dear friend, we call him Kuya. Today we call him Dr. Benson Go. Good morning, Dr. Benson Go.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me here today.
All right, thanks everyone. Again, this is an expert right here, my friends. If you're watching this live, please invite your friends to watch with us. And if you have questions, please just type them over the comment section below. I see a lot of friends already here with us. Let's begin by asking Kuya Benson, Dr. Benson. Doc Benson, please tell us what you do as head of hospital and as a psychiatrist, as a professional.
It's kind of two different things. First is, of course, with the hospital, which we call the TRC, Treatment and Rehabilitation Center. We deal with persons who use drugs, mostly drug dependence, either with methamphetamine, alcohol, everything. So that's what we do there. My other hat is, of course, as a psychiatrist, of which I deal with patients with mental disorders, depression, schizophrenia, stress, anxiety, like that.
That's good. Okay, Kuya Benson, I heard that there's an echo. I need to sort this out because there's still an echo coming from your end. I would need to fix this. Can I get back to you in just 1 minute? Because I don't want to continue this discussion with an echo, because it will be sad if we have that echo and people will not fully understand you. Is that all right?
That's okay. That's okay.
Can I ring you back?
Yes, sure.
All right, we'll ring Dr. Benson back in just a few minutes. I just need to sort out this echo because it's still there. It's still bugging us. And I don't want to be bothered by this because it's sad if we have this echo. You will not fully enjoy this. I tried to sort this out the last time. Ecam said you should turn off your broadcast audio. It's still echoing, okay? Okay. Okay, let's click this. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this, my friends. Let's do this. I wonder how we could do that. Okay. I should also turn down maybe the volume of the maybe the sound effects coming from the mic. Okay. Maybe the Skype volume should also be muted. Or maybe the sound effects can go up there. Okay. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let's try again. I hope that works. Okay, I hope this that works this time. Is there still an echo? No, because it's usually from his end. Okay, let's try to give him a call. Good morning, Dr. Benson.
Good morning once again.
Kuya Benson, if you could turn down your volume, your monitoring volume to its lowest because I think it's picking up your sound. It's picking
How
up.
about that?
Yes. Okay.
How about that?
Is it still there? How about this? Can you talk?
Yep.
How about that? Okay, let's okay. Tell us something about being a psychiatrist, Dr. Benson. What do psychiatrists do that counselors don't do and psychologists don't do? Please
Yeah.
help us
Yeah.
understand the terms.
Yeah, thank you. So psychiatrists are actually basically doctors first. They train, they go into internship, they took up medical, they went to medical school. And the main difference is that psychologists, for example, although they do therapy as well, counseling, which psychiatrists do, but psychologists cannot prescribe medications.
Okay.
Yeah, doctors do prescribe
So
medicines.
psychiatrists and psychologists do counseling, but the psychologists cannot prescribe medication.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have a few questions for you while we open the floor also to some questions from our guests. I'd like to begin by asking this question. With this pandemic, we hear a lot about mental health issues. How do we know if it's really a mental health issue already that needs help, or
Mhm.
it's just something that we can sleep off, that just need some rest? So kasi posibleng people might think, oh, I have a mental health issue, but you really just need to sleep and rest. So please tell us how we know if there is an issue to begin with.
That is right. No, with the pandemic going on, it is expected and it is normal for us to feel anxious, to feel sad, even to feel frustrated. So those are normal things that you should feel. One should
Mm.
feel, and it's okay to feel those things. However, if you start feeling so sad that you can no longer work, for
Mm.
instance, so sad that you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to go out of your house anymore,
Mm.
or so anxious that it's so debilitating for you that you cannot even get out of your room. So, in other words, you really need treatment or intervention if your day to day activities are no longer present. No, you can
Mm.
no longer do the things that you usually do.
Mm-hmm. So if it alters your day-to-day life, but you're
Yes.
living in a condo, you're
Mhm.
stuck in a condominium, and you're reading about this cabin fever, how do you know if you have one already?
Yes, cabin fever, although it's actually not recognized as a disease in our, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. But cabin fever is real.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. What do you feel when you have cabin fever? One is feelings of frustration, feelings of anger,
Mm-hmm.
feelings of sadness and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do anything. You have mood swings. You
Mm-hmm.
are irritable.
Mm-hmm.
But these things happen also because you are probably depressed or anxious.
Mm-hmm.
So cabin fever only happens when you are isolated for a long period of time.
Okay. You think 4 months is enough to give people cabin fever, or they
More
just
than
need
enough.
to more than enough? Oh, so it's
Yeah.
it's real for people to have cabin fever. Does that also explain why Facebook posts have been quite negative and social media and people are easily angered? Is that an explanation?
Yeah, although, well, the good thing about nowadays is, of course, we are not totally isolated. We
Mm-hmm.
can still communicate with people. We can even see our family members, although through video call. No?
Mm-hmm.
So there is less now. I can only imagine if this pandemic happened like, from the previous,
Yes.
like 10 years ago when we cannot do this, then the cabin fever phenomena would have been bigger.
Harder. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Doc Benson, I'd like to segmentize. I'd like to talk about first the employees now. For the employees who might have lost their jobs and who might be struggling, what should they watch out for? What should
Okay.
they watch out for?
Yeah. With the pandemic, our emotions are really heightened, diba? Because of so many things. Now, if you happen to be one of those people who lost your job, so what do you do? Of course, really need first is survival.
Mm.
So you need to seek help. You cannot do this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
reach out to people. That's the most important thing. You reach out to people, reach out to the government,
Mm-hmm.
because this, of course, the government should be able to help
Mm-hmm.
us,
Mm-hmm.
especially for those people who have no work and have no way to survive. So we need go out. Now, how about your mental health? How do you preserve that?
Mm-hmm.
By one, you take care of yourself. Now, make sure that you're healthy. Make sure that you're eating, you're washing your hands, you're putting on your mask whenever you go out. Self protection first,
Mm-hmm.
and then go out and seek help.
Okay. The thing is with the pandemic, you lost your job, and for example, families also, even if they're staying at home, since you talked about wearing your mask, parang people are so praning these days, that parang they're so paranoid. Is paranoia a mental health issue, a mental health concern? Like the couple of days ago, si Migo, our youngest, had a bum stomach, and we couldn't sleep. We couldn't sleep. Na parang, that's not normally how we react when a kid has a bum stomach. Pero ito, because of the pandemic, parang there seems to be heightened paranoia. Is that a cause of concern? I'm sure it's not just us.
That is right. No, that is right. The thing, thinking about going to the hospital in itself, very scary nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, be aware of that. Be aware that your feelings might be exaggerated. You know. And second, maybe you can look for online consultations, which is
Mm.
actually what I do now. I do
Mm-hmm.
online. I stopped going to my clinic. So these are the things that you need to watch out for. No, you could be overreacting to the situation,
Okay.
because you still can go to the hospital. It's still safe to go to the hospitals, actually, because hospitals do have their own protective mechanisms there. They have their triaging and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. But that is a normal feeling that you felt.
Mm.
What would happen to me? Because that's the greatest fear. What if I get COVID and I die
Mm-hmm.
in the hospital without my family? They cannot even visit you.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a real emotional reaction that you're experiencing,
So
and
yeah.
it's okay to feel that.
So I later I'll ask you how it escalates and how we know the symptoms, no. But let's talk about the business owners naman. If you're a
Yeah.
business owner, you lost your business, of your you had to close down, and you have to sell some of your stuff, and you're worried, you feel depressed. Is depression real? And please tell us something about depression, because we also read about it a lot from people. What is depression
Okay.
really? And can you be depressed because you lost your business?
Of course, you can be depressed. Like you said, depression is a normal feeling, no? Now, how do we know you are depressed? One is if you feel sad most of the day, almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
So for the day that you're awake, you feel sad. Second, if you lost interest or pleasure in the things that you usually do.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
example, in the past you used to watch movies and you enjoy them, and suddenly you don't want to do that anymore. So those
Mm-hmm.
are sadness, loss of interest.
Mm-hmm.
If you have eating problems now, you lost
Mm-hmm.
weight or you gained so much weight,
Mm-hmm.
either way, no? Or you have sleeping problems.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're not able to sleep or you sleep too much.
Mm-hmm.
No? And then you have energy problem. You feel fatigued. You feel tired all the time. No? And for some reason you feel guilty or you
Mm-hmm.
feel worthless.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
these are things to watch. A third, a last, next would be feelings of guilt
Mm-hmm.
and feelings of worthlessness and difficulty concentrating.
So those symptoms, doc, do they all have to be there together, or
No,
one on
you
or
could
one
only
or
have
two?
5 of the 9.
Five of
And
the nine.
last would be thoughts of death or suicide. That's if you have that, then
Mm.
you really have to seek intervention.
So those that list, if you have five of that, if you have no energy, if you're gaining weight, problem is you're all gaining weight. So that's already check one. Okay. But maybe
Yes.
not because of depression, overeating, and lack of exercise. Five of nine, you need to seek help.
Yeah, in the span of 2 weeks. In the
Okay,
span of 2 weeks only.
so
Yeah.
you need to experience five in 2 weeks. If it's
Yes.
less than 2 weeks, then it's not so bad. Okay,
Yes.
guys. Again, these are really good thoughts from Doctor Go. If you have questions before I proceed, Doctor Go, someone says hi. Kuya Ferdinand Nakila says hi.
Hello.
And James Bayeta says hi, and many other friends are saying hi. So they're saying that your sound is good now. So if you have questions, my friends, specific to you and to your family, please type them down in the comments below. Okay, let's go back to depression, doc. You're saying you have five of nine symptoms. You need to experience them in 2 weeks. But
Yes.
how do you know it's beginning? It's starting. Is there a progression to it? Is there a
That's
progression?
right. The first thing that usually depressed people notice, and that is common, is difficulty sleeping.
Mm.
Or you wake up very early in the morning, like
Mm-hmm.
let's say 2 or 3 a.m., and you cannot go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the most common complaint that I get, when people seek treatment for depression. They only tell you, Doc, I cannot sleep for some reason. It's so
Mm-hmm.
difficult for me to
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
So the number one symptom is lack of
Sleep.
sleep or
Yeah,
inability to rest. And the worst, I imagine, would be suicide. Is that correct?
suicide. That's right.
Okay. So how do I know, doc, that I need professional help already? For example, 2 weeks, can I should I, and what kind of professional do I need? Do I go to a counselor? Do I go to a psychiatrist? Do I go to a psychologist?
Mhm. It depends, Now, if, for example, the only thing that you have is, you have difficulty sleeping, you could be taking any medications, for instance,
Mm.
melatonin, to help you with the sleeping part.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the only reason when you really need to seek treatment is when you can no longer function and do your day-to-day activities. When you
Mm-hmm.
start to do that, then it's really time to seek professional help.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can do online, you can even call. We have actually with the Department of Health, you can actually call a 24-hour service call for these people, for
Do those
distress
work? Do those
people.
really work? And there
Yeah,
are there are people on standby to take those calls from the DOH.
that's right. Well, I'm talking. That's a national thing, but at least here in Region 10, we do have that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so again, if you want medication, you go to
Hmm.
a psychiatrist, right? If
That's
you
right.
want just counseling, you go to a psychologist. So how do I know I need to move from a psychologist to a psychiatrist?
Well, one, if you're no longer sleeping well, if you're not eating well, so
Mm,
these things have to be medicated. Or worse, you start to
mm,
feel paranoid. You start to feel
mm,
like, why are people talking about me? Why
mm,
am I being watched by people? Those things, those are the worst. Or, like I said, if you start to think of what would be the best way for me to die
Mm.
or the less painful way to die,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
that is a warning sign. If
Mm-hmm.
you have that, you really need to seek treatment.
Okay. So suicide, and if you can't eat and you can't sleep, that's when you need a doctor and not just a counselor. We have a question here from Mitzi Lazaro, Mrs. Yayago. Are there exercises or food that can help you change your mood or improve your mental wellness?
That is, there are exercises, yeah, mostly to relieve you of your stress. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so you do yoga, for instance, you
Mm-hmm.
do meditation. There's so many things that you can do, even stretching, even deep breathing relaxation techniques.
Mm-hmm.
This helps to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, when you do all these things and you still could not sleep and you're not eating well and your energy level is so low,
Mm-hmm.
or worse, you want to disappear and
Yeah.
not talk to people anymore.
So breathing,
And
any form of activity that relieves stress. Okay.
yeah,
So
mindfulness, no, that's a very popular activity nowadays.
So yes, Trisha likes the comment yoga because she's doing yoga now. We have another question, Dr. Go, from Paul. Is it recommended to seek help or advice from friends? So again, we have four levels: friends, maybe church mates, and then a counselor, and a psychologist, and a psychiatrist. So how do we know we need to move up the chain or the ladder?
Yes, that's right. Of course, it's okay. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to talk to people. The camaraderie that you have with the brethren, for instance, is so good, no? So that's okay.
Hmm.
But there are certain degrees of that, no? But sometimes you see, when a person is depressed, you actually don't want to talk to people.
Mm.
If
Okay.
that degree is really higher, you tend to avoid people. You tend to
Mm.
not talk to people. In fact, some
Mm.
some patients of mine, they just switch off their social media.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Okay, so meaning friends might not be of big help if you actually don't want to talk to
Statistic.
them. So if, for example, you're a friend and you know your friend is avoiding, should they go visit or should they recommend that this friend sees a professional?
Yes, that's one. Magparamdam.
Mm-hmm.
No? Hey friend, how are you? I'm here.
Okay.
You know. What I always tell clients, when when a certain family member is depressed, is that, you know what, presence is very important. You don't need to talk to that person because that person do not want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to give him advice because you are sure he
Mm-hmm.
knows whatever advice you are because you're not an expert. Just
Yes.
be there.
Right,
Just
right.
make him feel that, if you feel that you want to talk, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here.
That's nice. Very nice. So presence, and you need not talk and you need not give an advice. Okay, that's
Yes.
a slap for me because sometimes I give people advice if coming from a legal perspective,
Yes, of
which
course.
is a bad perspective. Good question here from Queenie Ong Wong from RM Boxes Boss Chief. Is depression something you can talk or psych yourself out of it? You DIY your depression treatment.
It depends on what caused the depression. If it's, for example, a hereditary issue, meaning you do not have actual events or things that make you depressed, you just feel so low, then maybe you can do that. Now do exercises, do meditation, etc. You do that. But if, for example, you got depressed because somebody died,
Mm.
or you broke up with your partner or your
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend or your boyfriend, so these things you really have to talk out with people.
Mm-hmm.
Or worse, if your depression is already so grave, so that you really have to be treated now. That, like I said, when you start to feel like you want to disappear from this world.
Thank you very much, Doc. Here's hi, hello from the Onods, Auntie Ethel and Kuya Vic Onod and the family says hi to you. Lini Ann says from New Zealand says it's hard for some people not to talk when It's
Yeah,
hard
that's
for
the
people.
opposite.
Yes, sometimes we keep talking and it irritates the person who's depressed. Okay, we have a question here from Kuya Dinan from the US. Here's a 14-year-old boy, usually looking sad in his photos on social media. Dad is absent, mom is abroad. The night before, told a young cousin on next he might go ahead. In the early morning, texted his goodbyes to his cousin. This young cousin did not reveal it. He was scared. Adults did not know about the text. After 2 hours, he was found dead in the restroom. What could have been done? I know this is a vague question. I don't really know what specific question. Meaning, if
Yeah,
if
I know.
someone is suicidal and people hear, so what's the best thing
Yeah.
to do when we hear of this thing happening?
Yes. Thank you very much for that question. That's a very important question, actually. What if in the middle of the night you get that text, you get that message, or you get that call?
Mm,
Brother, sir, I'm gonna die. What you need to do is reach out to that person,
mm-hmm,
because that's a call for help practically.
mm-hmm,
Even though he's saying, I'm gonna do this now.
mm-hmm,
You call that person. What we do as psychiatrists is we set an appointment.
mm-hmm,
It's just like you're actually giving him some rope,
mm-hmm,
to pull himself up.
mm-hmm,
How about let's talk about this in the morning? Would you want us to talk about this?
mm-hmm,
Who are you with now?
mm-hmm.
So that you can call somebody.
Okay.
Like for this child, a 14-year-old child, that's so sad actually,
Mm-mm.
because he was practically calling for help.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So meaning if it's a suicide event, even if you're a lawyer, engineer, architect, whatever you do, go and be available. Now in
Yes.
those situations, do you talk a lot or not talk a lot?
Again, you say, I'm here. Why don't we talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
You don't give advices right away, because you don't even know why he's doing that at that
Mm-hmm.
particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing is, one thing we do, you tell them, let's talk about this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
By doing that, you're actually giving him some time again.
Right, right.
Okay, I have a schedule tomorrow, so I'm not gonna do this now.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
important.
So meaning just allowing the person to think beyond that moment
Yes.
is enough or might
Yeah,
help
that's
a
good.
lot.
And then, of course, you need to refer that person to a professional right after.
Okay.
Because you cannot just do that and then meet with him tomorrow and that's it.
So
He
is
will
it
still be
advice, for
depressed.
example, suicidal friend gives you a call. You tell the friend, okay, I'll meet you tomorrow. Should
Hmm.
you bring along someone?
Not yet, not yet. You
Not
meet
yet.
with him because that's what you said. So if you don't do that, that person will feel betrayed. So you talk to that person. The fact that he reached out to you,
Mm-hmm.
that means a lot to you, that he really wants you as a person. So you go there
Mm-hmm.
and convince him. I
You
will
know,
be with you in this endeavor. Let's go seek professional help.
how do we correct the mindset of people that seeking help, you're already serious? You're, alam mo
Yeah.
yun, what that prevents people from reaching out is parang either they're afraid, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed to seek help. There's parang the stigma of seeing a psychiatrist na parang nabuang
Yes.
ka na. So
Oh.
parang how do we help them overcome that or our society overcome that?
One thing I noticed nowadays is the stigma has significantly lessened. I,
That's
I
good.
see I see grade school children telling their parents, "Ma, I need to seek professional help."
Mm,
It's so amazing, actually. Although as Filipinos, it does not happen, especially with the older generation.
mm-hmm,
They still think that you go to a psychiatrist, you're crazy or you're
mm,
buang.
mm-mm.
But nowadays, and I'm glad it's happening, is not because we are now conscious about mental health.
That's good.
Yeah.
We have a question here related to your statement about grade schoolers. What are warning signs for parents to watch out for kids who might be depressed? I'm baffled by kids, grade school kids, in a
Yes.
series of suicides
Yeah.
from high school kids from coming from good families and good schools. So what are warning signs and what's our first aid step if you're a parent?
Yes. Okay. First symptom that you will notice: isolation. Second, irritability.
Mm-hmm.
For most children, the manifestation of sadness is not really like adults, that you feel sad,
Mm.
low.
Mm.
For most of them, it's anger, is irritability. So you notice that through their grades, through complaints from your teachers or
Mm.
from classmates, that this child is really unruly at school, you know.
Mm.
So when you have that, you seem to have problem, grades suddenly dropping, then you really need to talk to that child. You know, what's wrong? Now, in with if you go back to the effects of the pandemic, you also would really want that the child knows and understands why he doesn't have to go, he's not allowed to go out,
Mm-hmm.
why he can no longer visit the cousin in the next city.
Mm-hmm.
So their understanding of events should be discussed
So
with them.
it's good to talk to them and process them.
Yes.
And so when we ang problema, many parents don't have that parang deep
Mhm.
relationship that allows for them to talk and communicate. Parang what's your advice, doc, as a counselor and psychiatrist, so that kids would open up? And if parents want to learn something, is there a way for them to learn? Kasi posibleng in normal times you don't feel it's important, but when you see your kid seriously battling depression, ano yung pwede nilang gawin?
Yes, no, that's good. If you as a parent, you know, there are really families that are not so used to, you know, expressing emotions, but you see that with your child.
Mm.
So seek help. One, try to
Mhm.
understand who would be this your child's you know, best friend, and
Mm.
reach out to that person.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
good.
Or
So,
even the counselors at school.
okay. So, meaning you ask help from the people the kid listens to. Is that correct, Doc?
That's right. That's right.
Mm. Okay, we have Lit Cools. Hi, Doc Benson Go. This is Little of DOH. Please let our viewers know of our 24/7 DOH Norman
Yes.
Kamusta Ka hotline. Is this the program you were
That
talking
is
about
right.
earlier?
That's what I was telling you about. In Region 10, at least we do have that.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Doc. We talked so far. We've talked about depression. We've talked about cabin fever. We've talked about these things. Now, a quick realistic question: is it expensive to seek professional help?
Well, sometimes it is. No,
Mm.
there are degrees. No, but the thing is, we have that in the government hospitals.
Mm.
In Metro Manila, you have that in all general hospitals. You have psychiatric uh,
Okay.
uh,
So of course,
services.
the higher the level, the of course you pay for services. So it is
That is correct.
available in hospitals, and you go seek government support given the
Mhm.
situation. Itong mga DOH Normin Kamusta Ka hotline, are the
Mhm.
people there trained to take yung mga suicide calls?
That is right. They are. They are trained. They're psychologists.
Mm. Okay, Doc, we also hear something like in some books that it's not enough to just pray or be religious when you're fighting some mental health issues. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, it's like this. You know, sometimes I get to see pastors, priests, nuns, you know, seeking treatment very late because they feel that what will people say? Do I lack faith because I have this? No. Then I
Mm,
have to explain to them that depression and anxiety also is a biological event, just like fever, just like
mm,
any other physical ailments, you know. So you really need to seek treatment because there are chemical imbalances that are happening in the brain that needs
mm.
medications. So
Okay.
it's not always like you lack faith or you know, you're not praying enough
Mm,
because it's just like fever. You really have to take medicines for that.
okay. Is there a kind of food that can help you more mentally strong?
Unfortunately, no, you know,
Ah.
but you do take vitamins so that you can be physically well,
So
to be
even if I
able
eat a
to
lot
go.
of malunggay, I will not be- so it's still
Yeah,
overall
unfortunately.
health.
Yes. So
Mm,
generally, you take your vitamins, you know, so that you can be physically well to combat whatever emotional problems that you have, you know. So,
okay.
for example, you're sad because you're not working so well, your output is lacking, then you have to be physically healthy so that you can accomplish those things.
Okay.
But that's an indirect way of doing it.
Can husbands or wives be counselors to each other?
Yeah, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
So,
Uh, but to some degree only, you know.
kasi
Sometimes
merong
you have
mga
to be
ibang,
objective.
Uh-huh.
Talking to each other is good. No, husband and wife, you talk and it helps you. But
Mm-hmm.
there are things that, an objective observer might see that you don't see with each other.
Mm-hmm. Doc, is rebelliousness of children a sign of mental illness? Yung talagang naglalayas, nagaganon, yung, is that a sign of mental illness?
Yes, it's a sign of mental illness and it's a sign of them asking for help.
Yung mga naglalayas is already asking for help.
Yes. They always tell you, you don't understand me.
If your
Yeah,
kid says you don't
I'm leaving
understand.
because you don't understand me. I go
Okay.
to my friends because they understand me.
Question. In that situation, does that now require medication? Meaning the kid needs to go to a psychiatrist or kaya pa yun ng psychologist?
Yeah, not necessarily. A counselor or a psychologist would be able to do that because in these things it's probably relationship problems. Problems with parents, problems with how they deal with the child. So if a counselor is able to get that issue, then he would be able to help.
All right. So take your vitamins, exercise, have nice friends around you. Guys, if you have more questions, we're keeping Dr. Benson only for the next 2 minutes. So we'd like to just say hi to Martha, Benamer, and of course, Kuya Dinan. We also want to say hi to by Syra Garangan. Okay. Okay, here's a question from New Zealand. Would you say that one's social media activity or preoccupation may also trigger, very good question, depression, especially among young children and teens? Yes, social
Yes,
media as a trigger.
that is right. We get people who expect so much. I actually have patients who say, I'm sad, doctor, because I posted this and then I only got a few likes. Or you get criticized by your post. You posted something and then people criticize you for it, or
So,
ridicule your post. So those affect the children so
so
much.
ano bang gagawin ng parents nun? Should the parents cut social media account?
You should be aware of it. Because nowadays it's unfair for kids. They live by that. Social media is really part of them now. You cannot just get it out from them. They would go be
Baka
depressed. So monitor the content of the social media that your children post. That's very important.
We have a good question here from attorney Chelin Sonza Alog. Is it hereditary?
It is.
Oh.
Depression, anxiety, these are all hereditary in nature. So it can happen if a parent or an aunt or a lola would have a mental illness, either schizophrenia, depression. It has a hereditary component.
Unfortunately, there can't be any test to know this, right, Doc?
Yes.
You need
But
to wait for
per
symptoms.
history, if you have an aunt who is depressed and you start to feel like that, then you really need to seek treatment.
Oh, so meaning if you know that as a family history, then you need to be watchful.
That's right.
Okay. Watching with my kids, Raquel Alcazar, Espiritu. Si Ate Raquel is saying hi as well, Kuya Benson, Dr. Benson. Okay, some people are already asking for your contact information. Do you do a consultation online, Doc, you mentioned earlier, and how can people reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, you can give my number to them. It's
Okay.
okay.
Can I have your number or what's your
Oh,
number?
yeah. Well, if it's for consultation, it's my secretary's number. That's
Okay.
0927
Let's 0927
261
261
1038.
1038. And may we have your office?
That's Chona.
This is Chona and from Dr. Go's clinic. Chona,
Yes.
okay. Dr. Benson Go's clinic. If people want to visit you in Cagayan de Oro, what's your address, Doc?
I don't hold a physical clinic nowadays.
Oh, of
It's
course.
online.
Okay.
It's
So,
online. So
Do you
that's
have
the
a
only contact we
Facebook
have.
account? So they call through that number.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Last question, Dr. Benson. What are your tips to maintain mental health wellness at home, una, and then also mental health wellness at work? Anong pwedeng gawin ng
Okay.
parents at anong pwedeng gawin ng mga bosses sa mga
Yeah.
trabaho natin?
That's a long list. Anyway, at home, what do you do?
Hmm.
Especially if you're quarantined. One, do routine things. Make a schedule. For example, might as well clean my, closet or bedroom, rearrange my living room,
Mm.
etc. Do those things. Be busy.
Be
Second, ensure
busy.
that you're healthy.
Teka,
Sleep
sandali, Doc.
sleep well.
I think I'd want to write those things down. Okay, let's have.
That's
Number
okay.
one is be busy. Okay, number
Yeah.
one is stay busy. Be busy.
Mm.
Okay, number one, that's be busy. Yes, number two.
Yeah. Like create routines. Number two is of course stay healthy. Eat
Okay, and
well,
then,
eat well.
okay, and number two is stay healthy. Be busy, number one. Number two is stay healthy. Okay, what next?
So stay healthy means eating well, sleeping well,
Mm-mm.
avoiding alcohol, caffeine, etc.
Avoiding alcohol and caffeine. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
too
my
much of
friend Dong
those.
Aberin would not like to follow that.
Third is
Avoid
of course,
in
you know,
moderation, pwede lang ba? Konting
yeah,
alcohol, konting
not excessive. That's what I
mhm.
meant. So third is try to avoid stressors, no, like watching news all the time.
Ah,
Stay busy.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So avoid that. Yes,
avoid
and keep your communication open lines.
so meaning avoid the
Constantly.
news, avoid mga negative news sa social media.
I have patients who monitor every day how many get positive, etc. And I ask them, what will you do with that information that you have?
Mm,
Do you think that by knowing that you can somehow change policies of the government?
yun,
You
tama.
cannot, diba?
Mm.
So what purpose would that be for you?
Mhm.
So it's enough for you to know like on a weekly basis probably.
Mhm.
But day to day, those are just adding so much stress for you, and you cannot even do anything about it.
Right, right. So number one, be busy. Number two, stay healthy. Number three, avoid stressors. Number four,
Social. So continue interacting
mm,
with people,
social
either through
interaction.
social media,
Okay.
communicate with your family, with your friends through messages, etc.
So Zoom calls,
Yeah.
messages. Okay. Should we start tayo, for example, should we make it a habit to check on friends? Is that a good thing to
That's
do?
okay if that is your personality. The thing
Ah,
is sometimes, if you're not up to it and you say kumusta, then suddenly that person you said kumusta to suddenly opens up, then
oo.
you don't know what to do.
Ah, tapos
So be careful
ikaw
of doing that.
stress.
That's right.
That's right.
So you have
Okay.
to be careful with according to your comfort.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Now, lastly, it's
Mm-mm.
okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel anxious nowadays because of the
Mm-mm.
pandemic.
It's
So you have to understand
okay
that.
to feel
Yeah.
sad. Okay. Parang yung title ng K-drama yan eh. It's okay not to be okay.
Yes, because you really have that, no? Now,
Mm-mm.
for so long as you're still able to do your job, you do your role as a parent probably, or as a brother or a sister,
Mm-mm.
then you are okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you start to not be able to do those things, then probably you need to seek help.
Okay. How about for offices, Doc?
Uh,
In the
the
workplace.
offices, yeah, in the workplace, especially now, you have to do work from home thing,
Mm-mm.
you know.
For,
So in the offices, the same thing.
mm.
Set up, limit your expectations.
Mm.
If your boss, for example, gives you this much, you have to be honest with your boss. I think I can only do this much.
Ah. So sa
So you have to
trabaho,
be
we
aware
add
of your
here, manage your
responsibility.
expectations.
Yes,
Okay.
at work.
Okay. Paano
And
nga
be
kung
open up, no? Set meetings with your supervisors if you feel that you're so stressed out. The
mm,
supervisors, your supervisor, your boss, should be able to help you with that as well. So
mm,
just be open.
okay, openness is important in the workplace. Parami nga takot sa mga boss eh. And they feel these days daw, Doc, they're overworked now
Mhm.
than they were before the quarantine. So, it's important to be okay and risk magagalit yung boss than to suffer silently. Am I correct, Doc?
Yes. Or ask help, no? That's one thing that sometimes we don't do. We fail to ask help from others.
Mm.
And it's okay to do that. No, seek help with your coworkers, with your boss, or whoever that will be able to help you.
Seek help from others. Hindi kayang mag-isa. Very nice summary of our discussion. Be busy, stay healthy, avoid stressors. Wag daw masyado yung mga balita. Hindi mo naman mababago si Duterte. Tama daw. Social interaction, it's okay to feel sad and then you manage your expectations. You talk to your bosses. Some people are suggesting, Doc Benson, we should have a part 2. We hope we could catch you again. So, Dr. Benson Go's number is there. Type. Trisha is... So thanks very much, Doc Benson, and so many friends are saying hi to you. The Gallardos are here. At Linian from New Zealand saying it's wonderful. I'm proud of you. You have practical and concrete answers to questions, easy to understand explanations. Congrats and God bless. Thank you very much, Dr. Go. We hope to catch you again. Please stay safe always.
Yeah, thank you too, everyone. Have a nice day and stay safe.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Dr. Benson Go for everyone, an expert from Cagayan de Oro. We would like to thank him for spending this day with us. And we hope to have him again soon. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po ang mga ekspertong Pilipino. Thank you, Kuya Benz. Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. There you go. So these are our tips. Did you enjoy that, my friends? Did you enjoy that discussion? These are your tips coming from psychiatrist Dr. Benson Go. I enjoyed that discussion a lot. Did you enjoy that too? Okay, I'm just rearranging our tips here. So yes, thank you very much. Auntie Myla says, yes, part 2. We'll try to have part 2. And I might also do a topic, guys. You know what? I'm also excited because in the coming days, we'll also tackle the issue of how do we prevent cancer from attacking ourselves and our families. So we will also have that lined up for all of you. Arin Ayuno says, yes, part 2. You should have asked more questions, guys. I was the one asking questions. Next time when we have an expert like that, type down as many questions as you can so we could ask them from our experts. Thank you very much. Let's proceed to the last and final nice topic. Thank you. Very practical. Yes, Tita J. You guys, if you need his help, you can please call him. He is available online and he's really an expert on what he does. And yun nga sabi niya na yes, you can, it's okay to consult a psychiatrist, a counselor, but if it's something that's already affecting health, hindi na nakakatulog, hindi na kumakain ng maayos, or sobra namang kumain, if it's something that's already treatable with a medication, then it's best to consult an expert. What's trending to end our show? What's trending, my friends? What's trending today is the quarantine extensions in the many places. Iligan City is extending their. Metro Manila is also studying whether to extend or not. Well, it's important for all of us to realize that the reason why this is trending, all of these COVID cases is, you know what's really trending? Secretary Anyo, the head of IATF, is positive for COVID, and that's really, really sad. So let's pray for Secretary Anyo to recover from this. Ano yun? Oo, meron akong enough. Yes, baka daw pag nag-CBB, pinagalitan ako ng aking director dito, baka hindi daw tumunog kasi meron akong enough because I now discovered what's causing the echo from coming into the feed, but there's no echo anymore. So yes, Secretary Anyo is positive for COVID, and imagine even Congressman Miro is positive for COVID. Many of our leaders have caught this virus already. The head of IATF himself caught the virus, so it's best for us to stay healthy and strong. I hope you catch me again on Wednesday. we will be having our dearest special co-host, Trisha. Again, let's have another fun morning with Trisha. Why do I laugh a lot when I'm with Trisha? I have fun when I am with Trisha. I'm more serious when I'm alone. That's the effect of love. See you again Wednesday, my friends. I enjoyed this day. I hope you don't forget the tips that we shared to all of you today. What are those tips again? Those are the tips. See? Be busy. Have chores. Stay healthy. Exercise. Avoid those stressors. Don't overload your brains with news, with negative information. It's okay to feel sad and low during these times. And if you're working, please manage expectations with your bosses. Talk to your supervisors. And he says, seek professional help if necessary. If there's a cost to it, there are government hospitals that will provide you, and you can have a free call. If you really need to talk to someone, there are hotlines available from the DOH with trained personnel to help us in case we're dealing with serious mental health issues. God bless, my friends. Stay safe always. See you Wednesday. Bye-bye.